Welcome to the next variety show, and we're doing a bit more cement work. I have a glove on for you to know because I got a fairly deep cut this morning on my thumb. I put a band-aid over the cut, and I just have this glove to protect any dirt getting into that cut. So here what we're making is a paper towel holder. I'll give you a rough idea. This will be here, and then the paper towel can fit onto this tube of PVC, which is a spare piece I've had for a while. I didn't even have to cut it. I am using this as the top end because it's a clean cut, factory cut, while this one is not quite so clean, but still level enough that it'll work out just fine. The first step I like to do is I like to fill this tube with cement. So what I'm going to do is prepare this, and I'll show you what we're going to do with this on the next segment. Alright, ready for the next step. Here I have the cement. I just need a little bit. It's about a 50-50 mixture of sand and cement powder. I like to filter the sand because I get it from the river's edge, and sometimes there's bigger rocks, pebbles, roots, leaves. I also like to filter the cement, and what I mean by filter, excuse me, I have this strainer that I used to use in the kitchen, but it got too close to the burner and burned. So right here there's a hole, so I just use tape, which I have to change every once in a while, and I'll put the sand in and then just shake it back and forth, and the bigger pieces will stay on top. And same thing with the cement, shake it back and forth. If there's clumps, I'll use a spoon or my hand to get rid of those clumps. And sometimes cement, if it's not stored properly, there will be large pebbles of cement dust that you can use for filler. But if you're doing any kind of artsy stuff, you probably don't want to use those cement pebbles. So this is the base, as we explained, I think. This I don't think we did explain. It was a piece of that I found on the ground, excuse me, 2 days ago when I went for a walk. I just cleaned it. I cut it into 3 even pieces, and I braided it together, and with some really cheap wire I just closed the ends. This is going to be like a handle, so you can carry it with 1 or 2 fingers. Here what I did, this is a bolt, exact same as this that I cleaned. I put it in the bottom end just to give some strength. It'll go as high as about here. Give it strength, and I used a drill to make holes. I honestly don't know if this is necessary. My thinking is that it acts as an anchor so that the piece won't move once it has been set in concrete. So this is the setup, and here I have just a plastic bag. I am going to, sorry, there's a wasp bug. I am just going to put it here because I don't want cement to go everywhere. I don't need it to be perfect because this end is going to be hidden in the cement base that we make tomorrow. So I'm just going to fix it roughly like that. Good enough. Get that little edge under the elastic. And here I have just the top of a soda bottle, and it fits perfectly on the top of this tube, just to make it easier to get the cement inside. Okay, so here's my cement, nothing else we need, and I am just going to put it in little by little. knocking so that the cement goes down. So here, this is the other piece I can just poke to make sure, because it seems like we're already filled up after only 3 tablespoons. But sometimes there is an air pocket that doesn't allow the cement to fall. So I'll knock it with the pliers or the wire snippers. And it looks full. It doesn't feel full though. Let's try again with the wire. Yeah, it must be full. So now I'm going to wipe my fingers. There will be a little bit of displacement once I put the wire in, so I want to remove a tiny bit of cement. And here I'm going to remove now the funnel. And then this is going to go inside and act as a little carrying handle. And whatever wants to come out can fall into the bucket. Whatever you use for this handle, if you want to go with this method, it has to be flexible enough that people can change it when they want to put in the paper towel, or if it's a rigid piece of wire, just make sure that it's placed so that the paper towel can make its way through on and off to change the paper towel whenever regularly they need to change it. Another idea is many people I've seen in their bathroom, they have something similar that they put their rolls of toilet paper. That could be another option. And Christmas is coming up in a couple of months. Could be an idea for you to give as a gift. The cost, the wire was free, the PVC tube was free, I found it. These are rusted pieces of nail and the rusted bolt, free. And the cement, the quantity is probably 20 cents. So the price is very low. So that's it for step 1. I'm going to let this cure for a day, and then tomorrow we will prepare the base, and the cement should be dry, and we're going to put it in just like that. Okay, it's the next day. This has had 1 full day to cure, and I'll just show you. So this is the base of it. And what I did, I just knocked off the weak pieces of dried cement, concrete, just to have a fresh piece that will be better for attaching to or adhering to the new concrete. And here's the container. I put a piece of tape right here because there is a hole that has rusted through. That won't be a problem once the cement turns solid into concrete. Here I have some small pieces of rocks that I grabbed from the river's edge, and they're clean, and I've had them soaking in water for over an hour. The soaking in water I think is important, otherwise these rocks would pull liquid from the fresh cement too quickly, making a weaker final concrete product. So the idea is this is going to go into the middle, and I will pour cement and the rocks will go in. And then for another day I will support it. Somehow I have some flat wood pieces to try and keep this in the center and to keep it as upright and level as possible. And then I think it's also important to have a small base that the paper towel tube can rest on, so that this lip doesn't get in the way, and that'll have to happen tomorrow. So here is my fresh cement, fairly thick, and we don't need too much because we're going to fill in most of this container with these rocks, because this metal container will provide a lot of strength. So just putting them in. These are the bigger pieces that go in first of all. And we have to make sure that this piece can sit. Trying to get it to the bottom. And then just putting the smaller pieces, making sure that they're sitting in the cement. And the pieces of rock might do exactly what we need to hold the tube upright. A little bit more cement to fill in the betweens. There we go. So try and get that tube in the center as close as possible. You're going to have to move the rocks around a little bit. And then continue putting the rocks in. Trying to have them sit and be surrounded, enclosed, enveloped by the fresh cement. Oh, too big, so get the smaller pieces at the end on top. And let's put a little bit more of the cement, which acts basically as a glue as well. Some more smaller pieces just to finish off, or a flat piece. No, it's too big. Almost done. There we go. So there's enough cement that I can level out the top. This one, no, it's okay. Might have been too big, but I don't think it's too big. And excuse the scraping. Let's finish it off. Final step for this. Now just trying to flatten it as best as we can. Get it back in the middle. There we go. Let's knock it. Make sure there are no big air pockets. And with this straight edge, I'll just smooth it out. And then I'm going to put it on a level platform, and we'll come back tomorrow for the final step. Okay, we're back for a next step, and here is the finished product. I couldn't show you because when I had prepared everything, the power went out, the clouds rolled in, it became really dark. So I didn't have the light to help with the viewing, and the rain on the roof was too loud that my voice wouldn't have reached the microphone very well. So with the cement already made, I had to go forward and finish the project. Let me show you, it turned out really nice. Everything is smooth. Cement is concrete now, it's strong. A few little bubbles, not a big deal. And what I did to finish it, well, first of all, the first step, the cement wasn't flush with the rim of this container. So with a handful of really small rocks that I have, it was enough. I sprinkled the rocks into the fresh cement, and with this straight, thick wire, I was going back and forth all the way just to flatten it out, make it nice and smooth, make sure those little rocks on top were buried. And I did that every hour for about 3 hours, 3 times, and each successive time the cement was more solid, so I was able to get rid of the waves that are created during this process. And then the next day, here was the container. This went around, and then this with the hole in the middle was just to help the container stay round. And then I poured a little bit more cement. And then the next day I used this sharp edge to scrape. Also a little bit of the ridge around the top. And then with a little bit of sandpaper, a used piece of sandpaper, try and make it smooth, and I will probably do that one more time just to make it smooth. But I can show you the process because I've started a new one. But first, here's an old one I made using a container which was the bottom of a chlorine bleach bottle, one of the big ones. And then using a PVC tube, I made this rim the next day. This is from a broken squeegee mop. That lifting lever, that's what this is right here. I made this a while ago, and the cement is a little bit dark, the concrete, because I found a bottle unopened of black printer ink. So I was experimenting a little bit, adding a bit of that printer ink to fresh cement, and it turned out a darker gray. Not a big deal, just something to play with. I'm going to move these out of the way, and we'll continue. Excuse me. Now you don't need that big base. The reason why I used it is because I have it. There's a hole in it, so it's not really useful to contain other stuff. And it's a bit luxurious. It's the deluxe model that I'm going to give to some friends who live in this village. But I want to show you without making that extra base. here I have a plastic container. I put a little bit of cardboard at the bottom because there is an indent in the middle and I don't want the cement to bulge outwards. So this is just kind of a blocker. So this is going to be the base, and then this will go on top. This is its lid, but it's really weak plastic. It's already got 4 or 5 cracks. One of the big ones, I used a bit of tape. And then the piece that's, I'll show you first of all. Here I just have some broken tiles, and they are going to go on like this to hold the PVC tube in its place to try and have the cement cure to dry solid concrete while the tube is as upright as possible. I will put those there. I'm not doing it now because it's tough to remove this lid and I don't want any more cracks. So the lid, the tube I prepared exactly the same way as the first segment that we did, I think the first segment. And I made it yesterday, but I have it soaking in water just to allow better adhesion to the new cement. But I want to let the water drip off for a few moments while I put some cement in this container. You don't need to put a layer of oil, lubrication, because it's fairly smooth, and I'll let it dry for at least a day. I'll let it cure, or maybe 2 days, and then it should pop out easily. If the container was not quite so smooth, then it's a good idea to put some kind of lubrication. Any kind of oil I've used works. Could be motor oil, could be vegetable oil. You don't want used motor oil because the particles in that will stick to the cement. So here's about a 50-50 mix of cement, dust, and sand. That's going in. I'll put through 3 heaping. Is that too much? That's too much. What I need to do is I need to make sure this is buried all the way in, and I want to have a little bit left over because I have another idea for a project to make a candle holder, and I need about this much cement. So I'm just knocking it, trying to get the air bubbles out and getting it flat. And then I'll use the spoon just to get rid of the air bubbles that came to the surface. And I'm going to also use the spoon to scrape the outside of the container, just in case some air bubbles have appeared on the outside. One more time. Okay, now this is going in, and here I have a ring that I bent into a roughly shaped circle to provide strength. I honestly don't know if this is necessary, but I do it just because having steel inside cement makes the concrete stronger. And it would only be an issue if it gets dropped. So I'm going to use it anyways. And I have a few of these left over. These are U-shaped nails, not sure what else to call them, just to provide other support. So this piece is going in. I'll move it back and forth, get it down so that it's completely buried. And then the ring goes in the middle. And then I'll put just a few of these around. I'll put 5 of them in, and then with the spoon again I'll just make sure that everything goes below the surface so it's hidden. So that's it. I'm going to put this on. Well, let me just double check. And then I have a level platform right beside the camera. Let's just make sure everything is buried. And we'll come back in about a day or two to finish off this project. I'm going to bring it with me as I come to turn off the camera. Alright, final segment for this towel paper holder or toilet paper roll holder. And just a couple things, if you're going to use it as a toilet paper roll holder, maybe you want to have a longer tube, because this one would fit only 2. So if you want to fit 3 or 4 toilet paper rolls as part of a storage, maybe in the corner of the bathroom, you'll need a longer tube. Second thing I want to say is I have made one of these before that was hanging, because a lady, she owns a small store, and behind her register she would always turn around to reach for the paper towel, and it was much more convenient for her to have a hanging toilet paper towel holder than to have one on a surface. And so I made the hanging part a bit stronger, and I made the base as light as possible without compromising on the strength. So it depends on what you need. Here we have the one that we started yesterday. It's been a bit over 24 hours, and I haven't done anything to it except spray with my water bottle. And as I explained, I had the lid on with 2 broken ceramic tiles this way and then 2 this way to hold it upright, and I let that go for about 4 hours until I believed the cement was solid enough that I could remove them, and I carefully removed the lid, and that way I could spray with water. So let's do the next step, which is removing it from the container. And it should be fairly simple. So I'm just going to push in a little bit, try and break the connection that it might have. And a little bit of cement is coming off. And then I'm going to push the base, see if it wants to come out. Maybe upside down. And you can always break it. I was just hoping not to break it so I could use the container again. But it broke, so let's just remove it the easy way. And you'll see it's got the nice impression of the bottom of the plastic container, and there is a little bit of a lip. Also, I want to share with you, many times when I do something like this during the curing process the first day or two, I'll use this paintbrush, I'll get it wet in a small container of water, and I will just paint the brush around the surface to remove what I call the foam, which is that very top surface of freshly dried concrete. But this came out great. There's no big air bubbles, there's a few of them, and it gives a nice glossy finish. So I didn't do it this time, but I've done it many times. I did it with the one that we started this whole video segment with. Not the segment, the whole video recording. So what I am going to do is, with this sharp edge, just a broken steak knife, I am just going to flatten it by removing that raised edge, which just happens when you're knocking it to get the air bubbles out and when you move it. So I just want to get rid of that because I want this to be as flat a surface as possible to make it much smoother when someone pulls a square of the paper towel. So I went full circle one more time, going the other way, And then, just with a used piece of sandpaper, I am going to smooth out that edge, not touching the surface. Give it a nice smooth finish all the way around. And then the final touch will be just very gently removing any kind of sand particles, or there might be some bubbles that formed on the surface, and that's it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get it wet under the tap. I'll let it dry. I'll probably spray it once or twice before this day is over. And then tomorrow I'll do one more time with the sandpaper, and then it's done. Maybe a little bit up here. No, this one's fine. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please try something similar. Many different options for the base. Many different options. You can also use a piece of broom handle or mop handle that you can no longer use as the broom or the mop. And have fun with it. A nice easy project, great as a gift. It'll be on someone's picnic table maybe, or even their kitchen counter. And most of all, have some fun. Thanks for watching.